kindly invite each one of you for global oneness from Aurobindo. Let us unite by chanting Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arvindaya. O Lord, with full faith, love and surrender, we are ready for Thy victory. Om, peace, peace, peace. Prayers and meditations of the Mother. April 17, 1914. O Lord, O Almighty Master, Soul Reality, grant that no error, no obscurity, no fatal ignorance may creep into my heart and my thought. In action, the personality is the inevitable and indispensable intermediary of Thy will and Thy forces. The stronger, the more complex, powerful, individualized, and conscious is the personality, the more powerfully and usefully can the instrument serve. But by reason of the very character of personality, it easily tends to be drawn into fatal illusion of its separate existence and become little by little a screen between thee and that on which thou willest to act. Not at the beginning in the manifestation, but in the transmission of the return. That is to say, instead of being as a faithful servant, an intermediary who brings back to thee exactly what is thy due, the force is sent forth in reply to thy action. There is a tendency in the personality to want to keep for itself a part of the forces with this idea: it is I who have done this or that, I who am thanked. Perennious illusion, obscure falsehood. Now are you discovered and unmasked? That is the maleficent canker corroding the fruit of the action, falsifying all its results. O Lord, O my sweet Master, Soul Reality, dispel this feeling of the I. I have now understood that so long as there will be a manifested universe, the I will remain necessary for thy manifestation. To dissolve or even to diminish or weaken the I is to deprive thee of the means of manifestation in whole or part. But what must be radically and definitively suppressed is the illusory thought, the illusory feeling, the illusory sensation of the separate I. At no moment, in no circumstances, must we forget that our I has no reality outside thee. O my sweet Master, my divine Lord, tear out from my heart this illusion so that thy servant may become pure and faithful, and faithfully and integrally bring back to thee all that is thy due. In silence, let me contemplate and understand this supreme ignorance and dispel it forever. Chase the shadow from my heart and let thy light reign in it, its uncontested sovereign. Sri Aurobindo's Life Divine, Chapter 15. The Supreme Truth Consciousness. One seated in the sleep of superconscience, a massed intelligence, blissful and the enjoyer of bliss. This is the omnipotent. This is the omniscient. This is the inner control. This is the source of all. Mandukya Upanishad. We have to regard, therefore, this all-containing, all-originating, all-consummating supermind as the nature of the Divine Being, not indeed in its absolute self-existence, but in its action as the Lord and Creator of its own worlds. This is the truth of that which we call God. Obviously, this is not the too personal and limited deity, the magnified and supernatural man of ordinary Occidental conception, for that conception erects a too human eidolon of certain relation between creative supermind and the ego. We must not indeed exclude the personal aspect of the deity, for the impersonal is only one phase of existence. The divine is all existence, but it is also the one existent. It is the sole conscious being. but still a being. Nevertheless, with this aspect, we are not concerned at present. It is the impersonal psychological truth of the divine consciousness that we are seeking to fathom. It is this that we have to fix in a large and clarified conception. The truth consciousness is everywhere present in the universe as an ordering self-knowledge by which the One manifests the harmonies of its infinite potential multiplicity. Prayer to Sri Aurobindo. To Thee who has been the material envelope of our Master, to Thee our infinite gratitude. Before Thee who has done so much for us, who has worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much. Before Thee who has willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us. Before Thee we bow down and implore that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to Thee. Goal of evolution. You say it is obvious that evolution has a goal and that it cannot stop here or now. It seems to you obvious because you have read Sri Aurobindo's books. But if you take anybody you meet in the street and ask him, what is the purpose of the universe or of the evolution? You will see that he will answer by saying that he knows nothing about it. Even here there are many, perhaps hundreds. If you ask them individually not to repeat what they have read, but to say what they feel and think by themselves about the question, what is the intention behind the universal evolution, or whether there is any intention at all, they will not be able to give a better answer. I do not think that there are many who will be able to tell you in all sincerity, it is like this, it is like that, it is evident, etc., etc. A good number may be able to quote passages from Sri Aurobindo. Otherwise, if you cease thinking with what you have read or heard, if you try to express your own personal experience, would you have any certitude to declare? I do not speak of the result of what you have learnt, what you have read or heard about. I speak of your own personal experience exclusively, genuinely your own, something that is evident because it is your life and realization. Are you capable of anything of that kind? If you have an experience of the kind, I shall be glad to congratulate you and say that you have not wasted your time here. Let us then look within ourselves. Goal of Evolution by the Mother. Prayer. Thy heart is the supreme heaven where every care is soothed. Oh, let this heart be wide open so that all who are in torment may find there a sovereign refuge. Make us entirely transparent so that our consciousness may unite with thine. We aspire to place at thy feet all the riches of this world. The Descent of Ahana by Sri Aurobindo from Collected Poems. Ahana. Straight from the roads of time, far couched on the void I have slumbered. Centuries passed me unnoticed, millenniums perished unnumbered. I, Ahana, slept. In the stream of thy sevenfold ocean, being, how hast thou labored without me? Whence was thy motion? Not without me can thy existence be. But I came fleeing, vexed was my soul, with joys of sound and weary of seeing. Into the deeps of my nature I lapsed. I escaped into slumber. Out of the silence who call me back to the clamor and cumber. Why should I go with you? What hast thou done in return for my labor? World, what wage had my soul when its strength was thy neighbor? Though I have loved all, working and suffering, giving them pleasure, I have escaped from it all. I have fled the pitiless pressure. Silence, vast and pure, again to thy whiteness receive me. For unto thee I turn back from those who would use me and grieve me. The purpose of prayer. All prayer rightly offered brings us closer to the divine and establishes a right relation with Him. Invocation to Mother India. We offer our prayer to the Spirit of Aurobindo through the invocation. O our Mother, O Soul of India, Mother who has never forsaken thy children, even in the days of darkest depression, even when they returned away from thy voice, served other masters and denied thee. Now, when they have arisen, and the light is on thy face in this dawn of thy liberation, in this great hour we salute thee. Guide us so that the horizon of freedom opening before us may be also a horizon of true greatness and of thy true life in the community of the nations. Guide us so that we may be always on the side of great ideals and show to men thy true visage as a leader in the ways of the Spirit and a friend and helper of all peoples. Be wide in me, O Varuna, be mighty in me, O Indra. O sun, be very bright and luminous. O moon, be full of charm and sweetness. Be fierce and terrible, O Rudra. Be impetuous and swift, O Maruts. Be strong and bold, O Aryama. Be voluptuous and pleasurable, O Bhaga. Be tender and kind and loving and passionate, O Mitra. Be bright and revealing, O dawn. O night, be solemn and pregnant. O life, be full, ready and buoyant. O death, lead my steps from mansion to mansion. Harmonies all these, O Brahmanaspati. Let me not be subject to these gods, O Kali. Savitri, the Book of Divine Mother, Pursuit of the Unknowable, page 305. All is too little that the world can give. Its power and knowledge are the gifts of time and cannot fill the spirit's sacred thirst. Although of one these forms of greatness are, and by its breath of grace our lives abide. Although more near to us than nearness self, it is some utter truth of what we are. Hidden by its own works, it seems far off, impenetrable, occult, voiceless, obscure. The presence was lost by which all things have charm. The glory lacked of which they are dim signs. The world lived on, made empty of its cause. The world lived on, made empty of its cause, like love when the beloved's face is gone. The labor to know seemed a vain strife of mind. All knowledge ended in the unknowable. The effort to rule seemed a vain pride of will, a trivial achievement scorned by time, all power retired into the omnipotent. A cave of darkness guards the eternal light. A silence settled on his striving heart, absolved from the voices of the world's desire. He turned to the ineffable's timeless call, a being intimate and unnameable, a wide, compelling ecstasy and peace felt in himself and all, and yet ungrasped, approached and faded from his soul's pursuit, as if forever luring him beyond. Near it retreated, far it called him still. Nothing could satisfy but its delight. Nothing could satisfy but its delight. Its absence left the greatest actions dull. Its presence made the smallest seem divine. Dear Mother, we all gathered from different parts of the globe for a good cause. Let us carry the light and peace through this collective aspiration. Let us pray. We offer our aspiration towards you for peace. Peace, peace upon all the earth. May all escape from the ordinary consciousness and be delivered from the attachment for material things. May they awake to the knowledge of Thy divine presence. Unite themselves with Thy supreme consciousness and taste the plenitude of peace that springs from it. Lord, Thou art the sovereign master of our being. Thy law is our law, and with all our strength we aspire to identify our consciousness with Thy eternal consciousness, that we may accomplish Thy sublime work in each thing and at every moment. Lord, deliver us from all care for contingencies. Deliver us from the ordinary outlook on things. Grant that we may henceforth see only with Thy eyes and act only by Thy will. Transform us into living torches of Thy divine love. With reverence, with devotion, in a joyful consecration of my whole being, we give ourselves, O Lord, to the fulfillment of Thy law. Peace, peace, upon all the earth. We wish the beautiful souls a happy birthday, and we offer our gratitude by chanting Om. Thank you, my dear other selves. Thank you for your presence. Greetings from Aurobindo. Good night.